Lonestar 99.5. Hi, this is Jan.
Hey, it's Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. How are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Doing okay. I can only imagine after everything that's happened and the incredible morning that you had this morning. And I'm really glad that you have some time to talk with us as we're getting ready for your show here in Lubbock.
Yeah, thank you. The last couple of days on the show have been a whole mixture of emotions. I mean, we were out there, and so, we were with that crowd the night before. Those were also our friends that were playing the show. Those are also our listeners. Those are, it's been a really confusing time. And it's also been a time where you've seen country music step forward and come together. Just a couple of things. One is that today, all the artists that came in, from Keith Urban to Dirk to Maren Morris,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were so many that I just texted yesterday, and we're like, yeah, we would actually love to come in. And we put up a new piece of clothing, and I just looked, and now we've raised over $75,000 for the Las Vegas Victims Fund. So the tiny bright light is that the country community continues to come together.
It's incredible. It's an incredible message, and you've been what folks have been holding on to, your message and so much that you've said and so much that you've shared. And these performances this morning especially, so powerful.
Well, thank you. And, and one of the questions I was asking a lot of the artists was, how do you go out and play? And, you have shows, and the human part of you wants to go, wow, I don't want to put myself at risk. What if someone else, like a copycat, decides to do? But everyone is kind of the same way that I've spoken to. It's that, that tiny 1% kind of creeps into your brain, but then you go, that's not what we're about. And so we're not going to let that affect us. And I say, we're coming to Lubbock. We never once considered not coming to do the show there. That's our first show, like, period, on this tour is in Lubbock. And, I was talking with Keith Urban.
Mm-hmm. And he had
we feel like we owe it
powerful words.
We owe it to the people to come out and give them a good time and give them kind of a release. So, it's been a weird time, but it always reminds you how great the country community is.
Absolutely. Pulling together in times of need. And, I know that you've had a roller coaster of emotion through all of this. What was your initial reaction when you very, very first heard that all this had happened?
It happened first on my phone at about, I guess, midnight, 1 a.m.-ish.
Wow.
I started to get a lot of texts from people checking in on each other. Some of my friends that were in Aldine's band, some of my friends that had played the night before. And there were so many artists that had played the festival that you really didn't know who was playing what night, really. Mm-hmm. There were so many that you just kind of wondered where everybody was and who stayed behind to watch other acts. And so I was just on a text thread of everyone checking in on each other. And so I woke up to like 40 unread messages. And Jake Owen was there that night. He's a good friend of mine, and he was like, "Hey, dude, are you here?" And so the first thing we did was we got him on and talked to him, and that's how I found out. And it went from 2 dead to 10 to 20 to, as we're on the air, 50, and now it's almost 60, and we've seen it continue to climb. So that's how I found out. And on the radio, we kind of grew with what had happened. We went in and we had a whole different show ready. We weren't expecting it to happen. Mm-hmm. And so we had to throw it out the window and just talk with our audience.
And stay strong and keep your voice. And, like you all had discussed about being in that kind of robot mode just to make it through and push through. And now it's time for those feelings to kind of come up to be dealt with and to heal, and how important that is as well. And that's what y'all were doing this morning, I know, with some of the powerful music that was shared. And you've inspired everybody, I think, to help to work through it.
Well, I've surrounded myself with the best possible team. And so, whenever I get weak, they're strong. And whenever I'm strong, they're right there beside me. So, I believe that's been the key to the show getting through this together, is that I have the best team around me. I have the best artists around me that, again, I can text a few hours out and say, hey, would you mind coming and waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and coming to play music? And they're like, absolutely, absolutely. So, it's all about the people you're with. And between our listeners and my people in that room and the country music community, we have a really good team. And this is a really bad thing, but tough times don't last, and tough people do. So I believe that, and I believe that, we will push through and continue on.
I really feel it was one very evil act by one person, and the reaction to it in the first responders and everybody who was there, who pulled together in the moment of the tragedy, all the good, the human spirit. There was so much that came out of it.
Yeah, and, we knew a bit what had happened early, meaning we knew people went in, we knew people had not only saved people's lives that were there, but also went up into the hotel. And then as today kind of falls out, you're reading more and more stories about first responders risking their lives, also people that were at the show risking their lives to help others, people that were just driving around that were having people jump in their cars so they could get them to hospitals. And so as time goes on, you're learning more and more of these stories, and you're really seeing a lot of good and human. And it stinks that we have to see something so bad for us to see something so good.
But it does restore your faith in humanity, and love is greater than. I love that whole message that you've got out there, and the incredible amount of money you've been able to raise.
Well, thank you. And again, we, it's me, it's the room, it's the people that listen in the morning. Like, that's always we. And we all together are promoting positivity. We are encouraging people to give blood. We are, and if you have money, not everybody has money all the time. There was a large part of my life where I couldn't donate anything until Fridays when I got paid.
Right.
And so, that's a thing. And so it's whatever way that you can give. If you can, please do. And so, that's been the message, and that will always be the message. And we're always going to be here on the radio doing the most that we can do.
Now, as much as we're pushing forward, and I know that you're still going to be staying on your tour, and we're looking so forward to you being here on October 20th, but is there anything that you feel like we're going to need to do differently moving forward with our concert tours and in safety measures?
I can tell you that was one of the safest shows that I've ever been. I mean, I remember talking to Eddie after our Raging Idiot set, because we played late in the night on Saturday. Like, we had one of the prime slots right before Sam, Hunt, Marin, and I was like, wow, that felt like really secure for such a big show. And so it was abnormal for someone to crawl up a hotel and knock a window out. Like, this guy had a lot of, I don't think it's about that. I think there will always be bad people doing bad things. I thought security was amazing at the event. When we do our shows, we have great security at our shows, but it's never been an issue. And this is a one-time thing that, when I read the news now, this guy actually probably had it planned the weekend before for a different festival, but wasn't able to get it done. And so, it's not about security. You can't secure every window at every place on an outdoor venue. But it's the same as it has been. Like, just look around. You got to walk outside. You got to go to the grocery store. Look around. Something can happen inside of there. Just keep your eyes open and help other people when you can. And, that's it. I don't think there's anything. I don't think this changes anything as far as what do we do to secure things, because it was very secure.
I understand. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. It's been so tragic and so overwhelming, and I think everybody feels that way, and that's why we're all pulling together. We're listening to you. We're listening to your show and to your message, and trying to contribute in any way that we can, and listening to the country music artists and the powerful messages that they're sharing on social media and on your show and everywhere. And God bless everyone for pulling together through this, and all the thoughts and prayers that are going out to the victims and everyone affected.
And I would encourage people to, and even if it's not us, but go watch live music, because these artists, they're all in a weird place right now where they're struggling a bit. And if there's some music that you want to go see it.
Yes.
I know we're coming to town in a couple weeks, and I'm not even talking about us. If you don't want to come see us, don't come see us. That's all good. Go see somebody else. But I would just encourage you to to go watch somebody play some live music and really keep the spirit up, because the one thing that you can't fully take away is someone's spirit, and you can always help give it. I listen. My favorite thing about coming is meeting the listeners of the show. And so if you decide to come out and watch us, that's great. But if you don't, I encourage you to go watch somebody play something.
Absolutely. We can't let this incident rob us of that, of our freedom and of our ability to enjoy and take part in all these things that are available to us. It's we have an incredible country and a great country music audience and family pulling together and through difficult times. So appreciate you so much for calling in, Bobby. Anything else that you'd like to add before we go?
Just a thank you to everybody for listening and for whatever way that they're able to help, even if it's helping somebody with a flat tire on the side of the road. Like, all that stuff matters. All of it matters. Keep doing it, and don't stop doing it. And when you start to think it doesn't matter, just remind yourself that if that were you that needed the help, it mattered to you then, and just like it matters to whomever it is that you're helping. So that's the message. That's the message, and we'll see everybody in a couple weeks. And other than that, just hang in there, and appreciate everybody for listening to the show.
Thank you so much, Bobby. You take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
All right, hang in there. Bye-bye.